This is the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, with Erolai, Kreese, and Mark, bringing you all of your DFFOO news and talk. Welcome to Season 4, the LGBT era. Now let's start the show.
Hey everybody, welcome. Oh, hey, that's me. Welcome to episode 139 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded February 11, 2021. I'm Mark, and I turned the camera on myself, so how y'all doing? Got a question for you, I guess, before I shoot to the main screen. Weekly trivia question. I know we all love the trivia, so if anybody can answer this, we'll do a community prize. What did Josh eat for lunch on November 19, 2009? If you get the right answer to that, everyone will get 300 gems and 5 armor tokens. So good luck. Just like and retweet that. And welcome to the show. That may came up again. Well, it's not just me here to talk about trivia. I have my co-hosts. First, it's Arrow. Arrow, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I have hit my 300 subscriber milestone this week, which is crazy. I didn't think I was going to hit 300 this fast. I also want to give a couple of shout outs. My first shout out is for my husband, because he's awesome and he's helping me out. He got me some Kupo cards because he's like, you're doing this content creation thing, and he wanted to celebrate that I was getting 300 subs. So that's awesome. I also want to give a second shout out, and I can't believe this person's not here today. Freaking Fat Mino. Yeah, he might be making fun of me yesterday, but honestly, the dude is the reason why. Like, I even tried guesting on the podcast in the first place. And yeah, so I'm really glad he's helped me out there with like building some confidence by being on this show. There we go. I'm going to pass it off to the next guy. Go ahead.
Kreese, how you doing?
I'm doing well. It's been another busy week. In real life, we got a pretty, I guess the storm's kind of passed now, but we had a pretty nasty storm going through. We're going to have a cold front later.
Ooh.
And also it is Mardi Gras weekend for whatever that matters in a global pandemic.
That will be interesting. Have they
said? Well, we're not partying.
Yeah. Have they said anything in terms of are things just canceled or?
Oh, yeah. There's no floats. There's no parades. There's no nothing.
I mean, folks are going to be out there doing stupid stuff, right? I mean, it is New Orleans after all, don't you think?
I mean, there's stuff going on in the French Quarter, but they're trying to keep stuff dispersed. Like, I basically hear every night about police going in to disperse crowds that are not social distancing properly.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay. So they're serious.
Yeah, they're trying to keep stuff, no arrests, but just dispersing crowds. You can't go into bars, but you can, you know how New Orleans is. It's open containers outside.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're trying to keep stuff from being super spreaders again, because that's how stuff happened last year. People spread stuff during last Mardi Gras.
Yeah, it got real bad real quick. Yeah. Well, and hopefully everything
Louisiana's finally getting cases down now, so let's hope it stays that way, and it keeps going down.
Yeah, South in general has been going down a lot. We need to keep it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hopefully everything stays that way, and we all are moving towards a brighter future. Well, speaking of bright futures, not just Twitter polls, we did have a TCC challenge last week that we announced, and that was Keeper of the Farseer, Lost Chapter, Caius Lost Chapter, banning Caius, Ramza, Kefka, No Burst, the Extreme Challenge, No Friend, and Chocobo and Sylph. And there are your winners. Congratulations to all of the TCC Challenge winners for the Caius Lost Chapter. Go check these folks out. Give them a like and a sub and a ring the bell for notifications. These are excellent, excellent, excellent players. We're going to see their names again before the end of the show. So make sure. Give them some love. congratulate them. And yeah, when you see somebody post a TCC challenge, go check out their video. Even if you zoom through it for a little bit, give them a like and a comment and say, hey, good job. Way to go.
Yeah.
We will also be continuing to talk about the TCC giveaway. We are going to be doing, and at some point, if I've been very, very busy myself, have a little extra time, I am going to put a video together showcasing what I will be giving away at the end of the month, which is this beautiful set of DFFOO trading arts mannequin characters. So there is Zidane, Lightning, Squall, Cloud, and Tidus. Yeah. And so I have a full set of those to give away. We are giving them away. Yes, that was Zidane. We are giving them away for based on our subscription list. And if you gift a sub, you will be given an extra chance to win. Infamous Element. It's okay. There's still time to do that. So, no, they're not all men. It is Lightning. So Lightning, so it's basically, it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 13. So, Cloud, Squall, Zidane, Tidus, Lightning. And they are the mannequin versions. So I've given out all the painted versions. So the full set, which is sitting behind me, it's a little harder to see, but the full set, which is behind me there, that comes in the blind box. That is 5 painted figures and 5 mannequin versions. I've given away all of the painted figures, and so these are the mannequin versions, but I'm going to give away the entire set. So not just one each, but give away the entire set. So how that will work is if you are sub to us at the end of the month, you'll be entered to win win the prize, whether you are gifted a sub or not, whether it's Twitch tier 1, tier 2, doesn't matter. If you are subbed, you'll be entered in the contest. If you gift subs, you will be given extra chances to win. And yes, Arrow does own the painted Zidane, so and I own all of them. Or you can spend $100 and just buy them all. So I mean, it's up to you. Whatever you would like to do. You can still buy them. They are available, and I did open 2 boxes and got a full set in each box. So if that is something you are interested in, it's about $100. And if they ship it, Squex does not ship to everyone everywhere in the world. So that could be an issue. But look for a video more on that, and I'll share them all and give you kind of close-ups on them and share some pictures in Discord, assuming I find some free hours here in the next week or so. We did have a little bit of maintenance, and it was extended maintenance, and so we got 100 gems. Hooray! And there were some addressed issues, and one of them had to do with a passive on Vivi. Now, I was not clear on this. Crease or Arrow?
Let me take a look at it because I didn't read it carefully.
Under address, yeah.
It doesn't say specifically what it was with the LD buff that was interacting and giving it to the party, though. I maybe assumed the last stand, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. Passives from Vivi's LD weapon, Black Mage Staff, being applied to party instead of self. So I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what it was doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look at his passives again and check what could possibly. I mean, that must have been a very temporary bug then, because no one was speaking about it either.
Yeah, it's not like
the last stand. I'd imagine that would have maybe moved to the party instead of just a self.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it. I don't know whatever it was. Oh, okay. Let him give everyone last. I don't know if it just gave. If instead of giving him the passive, it gave the party and not him. But yeah, who knows? Like you said, apparently none of us noticed it. So it may not have been, super, super exciting. But those of you who have been using Vivi in Lufania, let us know if you have noticed a difference. Maybe something is a little off there. So
the thing is that passive, the Last Stand passive, is tied to his Memories of the Soul passive from the Doomsday spell itself. what was it really giving him? Was it really giving everyone Last Stand raw life? Was that really what was happening?
Yeah, I don't have. I mean, I've never heard that reported, but
I mean, that might have been it. It's a weird quirk.
I try not to get into that situation, very truthfully, and we can't test it. So yeah, we'd have to dig through videos. It could be it.
I was just looking at the passives from the weapon. It could be that. It's weird the way it's designed. The LDs are weird.
LDs is weird. Yeah, well, speaking of weird, we also have... Where's my thing here? Penelo got a costume. There she is. Yeah, it's a good-looking costume. So, if you're interested in your Final Fantasy XII characters having their, whatever that game was called, costumes, that's 13.
The strategy game, I think.
Yeah, the tactics game. So, yeah, Balthier's got his...
HaateXIII, I believe.
Yeah, Balthier's got his piratey shirts, and Vaughn's got his Sky Pirate gear. I like Vaughn's costume. I think that looks good. So, and then Penelo's got her dancing outfit here. So, yeah. Best costume, her kit, though. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So, more news on Penelo. But that is available, and that's the only new costume at the moment for you to purchase. There is an ongoing crisis on Twitter and on Reddit as we have been getting trivia questions each day, and we are supposed to like and retweet those up to, I think, 200 or 300 times to get gems. And then if we get the answer right, they give us additional prizes. But they are very, very terrible. No, they're not necessarily terrible. They'd actually be very interesting. They'd be very interesting facts to know about the game. You know, which costume was the most bought? Which stage was the most failed? I mean, those are the kind of questions. What was today's? What was the third most pulled for BT weapon or something? Interesting questions, things I would like to know about, insights into the game that I would be very, very interested in. Unfortunately, as a contest with really no way to know what the answers are, because it's not like, you know, what was Vaughn's brother's name in Final Fantasy XII? That's something you can look through. You can Google that, or you know that if you played the game. These are questions that are a little ambiguous in terms of, you know, yeah, you can use logic to figure them out, but obviously when the vast majority of people have not, I don't think we've gotten any of them right. So obviously logic is not, and common sense is not the answer. So we'll see. Oh, we have gotten 3 out of 5. That's pretty good. That's better than I thought. So not terrible. But it is what it is. I'm not offended on it. A lot of people are offended about it. But yeah, seems like kind of a strange misplay, and that was what the joke was about at the beginning of the game. Arrow, any take on that before we actually get to content?
It's totally like an anniversary month, and they're clearly trying to get new players into the game. How the heck would new players even know what half of these questions mean? So that's where I took some problems with it more than anything. And like, I see like this bitterness in like the Twitter threads. I actually went and checked some of these and like on Reddit and in Discord, the bitterness is real. And I'm like, whoa, yo. I mean, I don't have a Twitter. I have a Twitter account, but I don't use it like other than to enter giveaways. And I didn't even know this was going on until like somebody pointed it out to me, and I was just baffled. I was like, well, hold on. If you're trying to get new players into this game, they really want these rewards, and they feel like they're being cheated out of them. So I don't know, man, because I know like weapon tokens maybe aren't a big deal to us, but to a new player, they are kind of a big deal because they don't have a lot of weapons. So being able to maybe get something for, you know, a character when they super luck sack, you know, can be really, really nice, I guess. I don't know. I that's just my thoughts on it. Chris, do you have any thoughts?
About the quizzes? I have no clue. Some of these things are so weird data points that I have no clue what the answers are most of the time, because like the one that Mistleton drops in chat.
Yeah.
Like, some of them, like the Son of the Sub one, was pretty easy to guess at, but it wasn't 100% sure exactly there. Like I could have seen it going to not by a long shot, or there's still a chance. In some cases, some of these are so data driven that there's no way to know for certain.
Yeah, and obviously, with at least with the global version of the game, Squex is trying to draw in new players. We know that because they are sponsoring kind of larger streamers or more well-known streamers. I would say maybe mid-level streamers who don't play the game to play the game and get new audience members. So people who might be familiar with Final Fantasy or maybe played Final Fantasy VII Remake on stream, get them to play the game for, a few weeks to build some hype. And that's good. I think that's great. That's great marketing. You should do that. That gets new people. I was watching one of those streams where a whole bunch of people started playing the game that night because this, well-known streamer that they were following started playing the game, and so he was hyping up the game. Knew nothing about it. It was embarrassing, but it wasn't embarrassing. It was frustrating for a veteran to watch all the mistakes they were making, and not the kind of person that would take advice or was looking for it because they were getting paid to do this. So just play the game and shut up and let me get my money. That's not fair. I don't know this person from anything, but that would be my opinion of the situation. But yeah. So they're obviously wanting to engage with new players, and so is the Twitter thing? Did they think, oh, this will be a fun idea, and then maybe just got a little out of there, or was it trying to appeal to more veteran players? Maybe both and. So again. Free stuff is free stuff in my book, and I'm not worried about it. But it is a thing that's happening in the community, so we did need to talk about it. But we have a lot of events to talk about before our 8 days of silence.
If it really turns out to be 8 days of silence,
yeah,
who knows?
it may not. I mean, at the very least, we'll get a choke board, right? I mean, there'll be something to do. But I assume there'll be something small in terms of the anniversary, but we'll see. We'll talk about that more later. So last week we talked about the Guy event, Gentle Giant, and we introduced you to Guy. Arrow, Crease, you don't have Guy. Arrow has Guy, right, though? And so you've been able to use Guy a little bit. Any kind of further thoughts about Guy? And
gimmick is cool. I like it a lot. He's really good with Balthier. Oh man, he goes from like mediocre damage to pretty great damage with Balthier. Not gonna lie. Would I hugely recommend him? Certainly not. And I pitied for him. So guys, I can't believe I did that. But FF2 got a rep.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm liking his kit when paired with the right characters. But yes, his damage is very mediocre. I just want to warn you guys, if you pull for him and use him, so he really needs like a good damage dealer at his side. But luckily, we got some great characters that are coming out in this setup. We got Ultimisia we're going to be talking about in just a little bit, and she's a great character to potentially pair with Guy because all his buffs are on him, and the Earth Enchant for the party is on him. So it's sort of like Rydia in that sense. So characters like Ultimisia and Machina, they can take all the turns they want in the world, and it doesn't matter because they can constantly keep that Earth Enchant up. Thumbs up for that. And all the other good buffs too, like the attack and up and the defense up and all that other good junk. So that's cool. So I like that about him. But outside of that, I can't hugely recommend him to anyone. But if you've got some tickets to burn, or you're a gym millionaire, go for it. I mean, he's got a good call ability because he's going to enchant the party with Earth. And the LD also does an Earth in Peril. There we go.
Right.
So that's a good LD call. Yeah, I think that's our first enchant LD call even on top of that. So
yeah,
there you go. That's pretty much my thoughts on it. Crease?
Guy is an interesting character. I don't have his kit, and I have not seen him used much in the co-op, so I haven't really had much experience with him. I've seen a lot of Ramses. I've seen a lot of Caiuses, not so much Guys. I don't have much to say about him for that reason out of what we said last week. Kit seems interesting. I'm skipping a bunch of characters.
Yeah, a whole bunch of people in chat saying, I'm glad we're going to have a break because there's a whole bunch of content to catch up on. And I know Crease is in that same boat. So that's good. Obviously the events were kind of strangely paced out. We just got Ultimisha here a few days ago and Jack last night. So coming off the heels of a couple, back-to-back events as well. So if you can play at your own pace instead of, frantically getting everything done for a podcast, much more comfortable. And so, you can catch up on that, finish up Divine Boards when you have a little bit time left still. So, but the Lufania, because we have a few Lufanias to talk about tonight, so we'll try to go over these quickly. Always, Tonberry Troupe has the Lufania information along with the infographics, tonberrytroupe.com. Call to arms, Macnol, DissidiaInfo.com. DissidiaInfo.com has the call to arms, team strategies. All those folks we put up on the TCC challenge are good people to follow to give you some ideas. You can dig in a little bit deeper. Macnol puts some boss guides together when he has the time. He's been very busy as well. So this Lufania is 2 Rage Gators. And they're pretty straightforward. The big thing is they have a Lufania orb that needs constant earth damage to uptick. So it increases by 2 when the boss takes earth damage. The orb's max count is 10, so it's not a very large orb. So it appears at 79%, disappears at 49%, reappears at 29%, stays for the rest of it, but the orb count is then only at 5 at 29%. So you need to consistently do earth damage or they will not be, the orb will pop. They also get a red aura, which is called Runaway. It happens 3 times at the fight at 79, 49, and 29. Lasts for 3 turns. The only way to deal with it is to give them turns. While it's active, your party will have lower int brave, and it will unlock their most dangerous weapon, Tremor Plus, which is a all attack. So when they're using the all attack, it is Tremor and Tremor Plus in Runaway mode. Generally, they don't do that at the same time, but it can get at the same time for you, and that would be real bad. Just does not do HP directly, but does inflict a debuff that deals brave and HP damage every turn. That's regular Tremor. Tremor Plus, on the other hand, extremely deadly, especially if it breaks any of your team members. Evasion does not work against it, and since it deals HP damage twice, it can go through Last Stand and similar effects. So you need earth damage, you need damage mitigation. Those are the 2 keys. Reckless Harlot, thank you for continuing your gift sub you got from Shalaster. Appreciate that. So, obviously, Guy enchants the party earth. Gao enchants the party earth. Zande does earth damage. Realm can do earth damage. Those are the big ones. There are a few other earth damage options, I think, right? I don't think any of them are real good.
No, are really relevant. Like
right.
They have it on skill 1.
Yeah. So I mean, the most common strategy was Guy or Gao. Gao, Furion, and Gladiolus. Is a great off-damage team. That's a great team that works. Obviously, Ramza synergy here. I used Gao, Gladiolus, and Ramza. That worked real good. The off-turn counter damage is really good. I think you can move through this. You definitely, if you're gonna play and you're not gonna just try to burn through it with lightning, because you can lightning Gao, Beatrix. I see lightning Dark Knight Cecil, Kirin. Lightning Ramza Kurasame, Ramza Metatilian Kais, Lightning Realm, Dark Knight Cecil, so there's a Realm run. So you can lightning through it a little bit, but you need to figure out some way to do some consistent earth damage. I think now, we have Jack as another damage dealer, and we have Jack's Call, so that will help if you haven't finished some of this and you did pull for Jack. That's another option. Ultimisha obviously is one as well for some of these fights, and Penella to some respect. So when you wait when you have Lufanias back to back to back, and those new characters come out, you do have more options. So that's the thing. So like I said, I used Gao. Gladiolus and Ramza. It was fine. You just have to be careful, before you get those back-to-back Tremor Pluses. And ideally, once they get down below that 39, that's when you should burst. That's when you should summon, and you should really try to do as much damage as possible. Arrow?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was saying about it there. I wanted to point out that when they're also in runaway mode, they have other skills that are plus versions.
Yeah.
And if they break the target, they will also delay you turns. And that includes their Brave Plus of all things. So don't get broken while they're in runaway, because you're going to get shit sent to the Shadow Realm. And wow. Yeah. That turn count of being 70 is kind of crazy too. So you've got
it is a pretty...
Yes, you've got to go quick. And my team was Furion, Guy, and Balthier, and I've taken to calling them Team Triple Pity since I had to use 300 G tokens for all of them to get their LD. Squex was very cruel to me, and I don't know what to say. I'm due a gem luck sack the next time I gem pull. For real, I hope. I haven't gotten a free LD this month, so we'll see what happens. Maybe Cryo will be good to me.
All right. I think we did also have a TCC challenge for this. So the TCC challenge banned Guy and Gao. And the extreme was no burst. Friends were okay. So that was all we did. Regular was Guy, Gao. Extreme was no burst. So there you see the winners of the TCC challenge and TCC challenge extreme. The extreme was KZL, MZ Pro, Dystopia, Clay, Theologica, and Excalibur, and where did I put the video list? Here it is to see what some of those extreme challenges were. Theologica's on, I think, Zande, Amida Tillian, Ramza. Excalibur did Dark Knight Cecil, Lightning Ramza. KZL did Lightning Belthier, Dark Knight Cecil. MZ Pro did Ramza, Lightning, Dark Knight Cecil, and Clay did Ramza Y'shtola. Some representation there, and Lightning. So obviously Lightning was almost, except for Theologica's run, Lightning was the clear winner there, as she always is, and that's why I hate her so much. So congratulations to all of you, Lightning fanboys, for getting her off the bench for the TCC challenge. So what are the odds of not getting a single EX in a 13 pull? Haven't gotten a free LD this month or a single EX yet from the anniversary banner. Oh, that sucks. If you haven't gotten a single EX from the anniversary banner, oh yeah, that's pretty rough. You should, I mean, statistically, you should have probably gotten a couple EXs from the anniversary banner. So
even
yeah,
dupes.
I don't know what the odds are. They're low, so I would say yeah. I hate Zaz. No, I love Zaz. Zaz is great. I like Lightning as a character. I just hate her in the game because she can stomp through everything. I hate her because I don't have her LD strafe or her BT. That was the first BT I didn't get. Still don't have it. And I'm bitter about it. That's why I hate her. Well, we also have other events. The first is not Keeper of the Farseer.
Nope.
No, that is, what is it called? It's called something with the flying machines.
Airborne Interception.
Thank you.
Operation Airborne Interception.
Yeah, Thank
I
you.
forgot to rename the section, but I did rename the call to arm.
Thank you. Yes, Operation Airborne Interception. It is a heretic quest, which at this point seems a little rough because you have to go through two very easy modes, and you just kind of spam through it, and then you finally get to the harder content. And so it is kind of a beat back challenge. So we do cumulative rewards. The more we do co-ops for that, everybody gets the rewards. So that's nice. With that as well, there is a shop for co-op in addition to the beat back kind of challenge, and there is refined spheres as well. But this event gave us a new burst with new LD boards for an LD character we already had and a new LD character. So Ultimecia got her level 80, her LD boards, and her BT weapon, and Penelo got her LD. So, Kreese, if you want to walk us through Ultimecia, let's start there.
Sure. So, Ultimecia's kit did not drastically change beyond her LD slightly because of the LD boards. And the other thing she got was her burst. And of course, because she got her 80, she now has LD call abilities that she can share with the party. So we'll just go through quickly what the changes are. So her LD changes are now Shockwave Pulsar is a much stronger ability. It now has a... I don't think it had this before. It did not have the gravity shave component before. It now has 2 HP dumps, and it now has a Held Judgment recharge attached to it. So those are the big changes to it. Makes it a much more useful button to push. It's not just a maintain sorceress's intervention button. It has ability recharge. It has gravity reduction, brave reduction, and again, it's just a much bigger hit than it was before. Her LD call or her calls are now Hell's Judgment and Shockwave Pulsar as the 2 calls. Makes her a pretty good call option because she is a very strong source of gravity shave with her 2 call options. So consider her if you need gravity shave for a fight with a caller, with a call source, and you're not bringing it in your primary party. And they're both... Is Hell's Judgment AoE if you call her in? I don't think so. I think it's single target.
I don't think so, right? Because she wouldn't have the stacks.
Can she get them if she uses the LD first?
I don't think so.
I don't know how that works on calls. I don't know if... I don't think they retain buffs from LD call to regular call. So
no, they don't, as far as I know. Okay.
Anyone can confirm in chat. That'd be great too.
Infamous Element is going to test that for us right now, and we'll get back
Yoshi
to
Pasta saying yes, they do not. Characters do not maintain stacks between things.
No.
The only place I've seen an interaction like that is for Machina, where because he applies that debuff, he can use that debuff, when you call him in a second time. Yeah.
Because the debuff stays on the field. Yeah. The character doesn't. So.
Theologica DFFOO saying it is an AoE Hell's Judgment.
Oh.
Okay, I apologize.
Thank you for confirming that, guys.
Well, now
someone say now Zerelius is saying it will hit single target, so I'm not sure, and I didn't test myself beforehand, so I apologize.
Yeah, I didn't test it either, even though I do have the LD actually from.
And I think Mark's gonna go test himself. So, anyways, while Mark tests, I'll talk about the burst. Sorceress's Heart is the burst ability. Sorceress's Heart is a full AoE Brave plus HP dump. Does a decent amount of damage. The burst effect is a 3-turn effect. Infamous Element saying it's AoE. Okay, so that's answered. Burst effect is for 3 turns. It deletes all targets next turn when Ultimecia attacks. So basically, after Ultimecia's next 3 turns, all targets next turns are deleted. So she just wants to use AoE attacks, and everything she does is an AoE Brave hit. So she will hit, or sorry, it does delete all targets turns. Sorry.
Well,
she just removes turns.
The regular call is in fact AoE. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, as we just confirmed. So yeah, we have 2 sources of AoE Brave reduction. I apologize for not checking that beforehand and not thinking about that. But yeah, burst effect, just turn deletion for several turns. It's a pretty nice utility burst. Not a powerful one for damage purposes, but a nice one for utility. And otherwise, Ultimecia has not changed in general. Her kit's still the same. She still has a lot of free turns. She still has a lot of free ability uses thanks to Apocalypse. And that's it. She hasn't really changed the way she works. She can be a little bit more liberal with her ability uses because she has those extra Hell's Judgment recharges now on Shockwave Pulsar, which means she now basically has 4 more uses of Hell's Judgment.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's back up. She's a usable 2-week synergy character. Obviously, her 2-week synergy isn't as amazing as other 2-week synergies would be because she doesn't have an event to go with her 2 weeks. She's only for the Heretics and the Lost Chapter, so consider that. But a lot of people also pulled for her LD back when her Lost Chapter came around. Well, so you can skip her burst and just LD border.
Ramza is synergy on Jack's chapter, so yeah. So I joke that this may be the first 2-week synergy character I only use in one event.
Hey, won't it be synergy for Boss Rush? I think we have Boss Rush this month, right? What comes out with LD?
She may be synergy. Yeah, she'll be synergy on Boss Rush. So it will be Heretics and Boss Rush and Jax. Obviously, she is not synergy in Entropy tier 20. So, but yeah, so there will be 3 events that she is synergy on. But she does share synergy with Ramza, who is also very good. Yeah, so yeah, it just kind of seems. So Arrow, what do you think?
Ulti's still doing Ultimisia things. She does take some planning. I've seen a lot of people complaining about her damage. Now, she gets so many free turns, guys. Like, anyone with free turns like this tends to have a lower damage count per turn, but they make up for it in the fact that they get more turns to do things, to react to things. And this is a character with Gravity Shave and pretty decent regen stuff. And I think she's great for brute force tactics, especially with the EX ability being what it is. And so if you're playing her for that kind of method, any HP damage up boost character can help you. That includes our global first battle of the year. Of course, you can still use Charlotta and you can still use Kurosame. And if you're a crazy person, you can also use Dark Knight Cecil. All right. Yeah. So still fairly easy also to pair with buffers and aura bots. But I do want to note, she does take a lot of turns for herself. So she can sometimes drain certain buffs very, very quickly. So just bear that in mind. And also, when you're dealing with certain orbs, you might have to slow down just a moment to let another character go, because you can drain that orb so fast depending on what it is. Lastly, BT animation is still one of the absolute best in the game. I don't blame anyone going for the BT for that alone. The effect's pretty powerful, and it fits well with the brute force and delay strategy thing, because she turn deletes. We all know how great deleting turns is. So that's pretty much all I got to say. Mark?
Yeah, I'm sad that I don't have her burst yet. I'm in, what am I in now? You can check out both my poll videos for Penelo and Jack. I already had Ultimecia, of course. What I'm in, 443 tickets of the 1,000 that I was willing to spend to hopefully get her. So we'll see. Hopefully I get it. It's beautiful. It's one of the best animations. I really think the effect's really cool. Obviously just, gives her that kind of instant deletion. It's not an effect that's going to help the party in any way. So, that is what it is. But yeah, you definitely, and again, it's, she's paired with another selfish damage dealer that does give damage up, yes, through his debuff, and then 4 or 3 supports, none of whom, I think Hope maybe a little bit, so Hope will probably help her more than Penelo. But, I mean, Penelo's really not the best support for her. Kryl, I'm not sure. I'd have to, see that interaction. But, I mean, Belthier works great with her if you can get a third. That's really useful. Jack's Call is wonderful to have when she goes into her phase, especially if she's going into burst phase. That would be a real nice call to have. Kurosame works really well there. So, yeah, I don't like when a character comes, like a hyped character like this or a BT character comes, and then their partner that's, kind of there to help them is not really ideal, especially for synergies and stuff. But that's just part of the game. You can not use those characters. You don't have to use synergy, even though I always do. You don't have to use synergy. In fact, often it's better not to use synergy if you have fairly powerful characters. So, but yeah, I don't think she's not. Ultimecia's not doing overwhelming. she's not overwhelmingly better than she was in the LD era or the EX era. She is now kind of up to standards. Obviously, there are characters that can help her boost her damage. She can be enchanted, which is nice, but she's not lightning. I don't know what to compare it to. She's not Arnea. She doesn't help anybody. I mean, she does have a debuff, and if you put her sphere on her, that's 2 debuffs, but it's not really helping the party the same way Jack is helping the party or Kurasame is helping the party. So yeah, I obviously have her kit. I'd like her BT, but I don't know that you're going to use her a lot out of the 2 week synergy unless she's a big favorite and you build around her well. You can, but again, you probably won't be seeing a lot of Ultimecia a couple months from now. So, like most characters.
She's one of those niche characters. If you build around her, she can work pretty well, but she also is not a powerhouse. She's no lightning. She's no cloud.
Yeah. Well, she's a great character to bring your friend in for, because you just burn through her skills and then bring your friend in when you're out of skills. So. But it does help. Getting the skills back does help a lot. Being able to do, up to probably 12 or 13 uses of her skill too, because you get the free turn, you get the free ability after her EX, plus getting the refreshed ability after her LD. So being able to use skill 2 much more frequently does help a lot and keep that debuff active as well. So I do like that quite a bit. Well, do you want to talk about Penelo, because she's also on this on the other banner?
She is.
And she has a new weapon.
Banner. She does get something new. Yeah, she gets an LD as well. No kit change. She already had her 80 awakening, so she didn't get any changes there. The only thing she got was her LD and LD call ability. So let's go through what that did. What she gets from her LD is a new ability called Evanescence. What it is it basically gives her a new boost to her kit. She gets a debuff cleanse, yes. It's also a AoE Brave gain plus, or AoE Brave plus HP dump. It's a battery for the party. It buffs the party with all of the buffs she normally gives with both Haste Rumba and Regen Waltz, so she refreshes everything quickly. And it gives her a new passive ability above her called Liberty Dancer. This gives the party an increase to Int Brave, to Max Brave, and also to Gained Overflow. So Brave Overflow. So a nice little kicker that lasts for 16 turns, which she can burn through pretty fast because she can spend a lot of turns really quickly. So you just got to keep an eye out for that. And that's all she gained. She also gets it as an LD call ability, so if you're planning to use Penelo as an LD call, or as a call in, she does have that now. So, notable thing. I don't really have much to say for her. I am still torn on whether I am going to pull for Penelo. I've skipped her so far. I do like her kit. It's a little outdated, but her kit is also kind of an evergreen kit because it doesn't really depend on boss stats. It depends on her stats and party stats, which means it kind of sticks around as long as the bosses aren't inflicting debuff auras, which most bosses don't. Most bosses don't deal with debuff auras. She works really well. She's a pretty solid character. She has decent auras. For the most part, you just have to watch out for which stance she's in to make sure she's applying the better auras for the right stance, and the right stance to apply either the better attack bonus or the right HP regen and Brave regen bonuses for the right circumstance. But she's a very solid supporter. The fact that she now has a debuff cleanse helps deal with one of her weaknesses that she couldn't deal with debuffs if they were stuck on the party, especially the frame debuffs we've been seeing a bit of lately. She's solid. She is a turn hog. You just got to watch out for that. She can burn through orbs very quickly. Similar to Ultimecia, she has that problem. And I think that's about it. Did I miss anything? Arrow, what are your thoughts?
I like it. I think it's cool she got some extra utility. Now she can cleanse the party. Dope. She's still fun for those iBrave regen memes. I always liked her for that. Now, I know there's been some talk also in the chat, like in the Discord, where we were talking about Penelo's speed up buff. Personally speaking, I used her a lot, and I honestly very rarely notice the EX recharge rate issue. There's only a few characters who are that finicky about it. It's generally really nice to have speed up when you also are inflicting speed down onto your enemies. So you really will notice the difference in how many turns you are gaining over a boss when you're able to inflict speed up or speed down on the enemy and give yourself speed up. She is a little tricky because of the buffs now, and she inframes them and everything. Even though she does do that, and sometimes she does overwrite, certain buffs. We know from the combo in the Chaos era, we all ran Zac and Penelo if we had it. We all did it at least once. You know who you are. I did it, and it was great. Of course, if you're looking for good partners, I'm just going to list a couple. She can work great with Balthier, Kieran, Gladio, Warrior of Light, and Machina, just to name a few of our recent choices. And she should, of course, work pretty decently with Jack. So there you go. I think she's cool, but do you need her? No, probably not, especially if you grabbed Balthier. I think it's fun having... I've always enjoyed Penelo, so I had to go and try for tickets. And thankfully, tickets were good to me, and I got her in under 80 tickets. I was so happy on that pull video, man. I gotta tell you, I've had some terrible luck with gems, so thankfully to see some good luck with tickets was very welcome on my end. I'm gonna pass it over to anyone else who wants to say anything.
Yeah, I think pretty much everything this month. The supports, Penelo, Kryl, Hope, all good pickups, not mandatory. If they're a favorite, great. If you want to skip them, I think you'll be okay. They all kind of do a little thing that's a little bit different, but at the same time, I don't think you'll die without any of them. But I have Penelo's kit. Again, I'm just trying to get Ultimish's BT any way I can. So I figure I'll keep pulling on these LDs. And it's fine. Yeah, I mean, I like what she does. It's a little less exciting now that Balthier has the cleanse, because that was something he gave us. So we do have more options. If we didn't have Balthier, it would be nice to have a character that can cleanse. She does nice damage with her. I had to go look up when Evanescence first album came out, because people were talking that it was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. But some of us were still adults, so. But yeah, I mean, she's a nice supporting role. You have to make sure that you can pair her with people that can take her buffs and utilize her buffs, and you just got to make sure you understand what stance she's in, whether she's getting the extra attack or the extra bravery gen. Other than that, she plays pretty simply. You do have to be careful with Lufania orbs that tick down every time you act, because she can eat a lot of turns without doing a lot of damage. So that can be problematic if you're not careful, because she can burn through some stuff and jump turns and everything else, and that can be an issue for a character that's not doing anything. Ignis is the same way. So there are times in fights where that's not an issue. There are times in fights that, I don't really need to jump 3 turns, and Penelo does not need to take 3 actions in a row. I'd really rather not do that. So, well, let's look at the podcast polls. If I can get them, up here. As always, you can go down to our Discord and go to podcast polls under the podcast tab. And this comes to you via MateriaBot and Quetzalma. We thank you for Quetzalmas for all this. So where am I here? On 10 servers. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's kind of unsurprising, these results, considering one of the LDs is returning.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, so 3 people willing to pity Ultimisha's BT on her banner, 7 pitying the LD, 15 gems, 38 tickets, 182 skips, over 10 servers. On the Penelo banner, 0 willing to pity Ultimisha's BT, interesting, 25 willing to pity Penelo's LD, 14 gems, 181 tickets, and 55 skips. So there you go. You had a few more options with the challenge quest. There was a challenge quest for this, right? Yeah, there's a challenge quest. As you had 2 banners to work from, so hopefully you had more options between Ultimecia, Papalimo, Palom, Penelo, Cyan, and Thancred. I believe I used Ultimecia, Penelo, and Thancred. There's a lot of different ways you can come about that. And that does bring us to the Lufania Fight, which is shift frame type BW versus and 2 death machines, or the ads or the mobs that it summons with it. I guess they would be the ads because they are summoned in addition to the shift frame. And it seems to summon them all the time. I don't know. I think I killed about 40 of those things. So it was super annoying. It does have a Lufania orb, and the death machines get Lufania orbs as well. So the death machines, basically when they appear, those are the ads, the littler robots. They get a 20 count orb, I believe, and there's nothing you can do besides kill them. You have to kill them before the orb expires. It ticks down 1 count every time you take an action, 2 counts every time they take an action. If you don't kill them, they will kill you. It's bad. No, they'll kill one. I think they kill 1 character. I don't think they don't do an AoE wipe. I think they kill 1 character, but still that can wipe your run. So that is a damage check to make sure that you can kill them with enough area of effect damage, or focus 1 at a time, which is fine. The shift frame also has a Lufania orb. It appears at 79% HP for a 15 count, disappears at 49, and returns at 29% HP with, they do AoE. Infamous Element is saying and can kill you. So, kill your entire party. And Well Grounded only has a 10 count. So that orb gets a +1 count when the total enemy brave is less than 20,000 brave. So that's how you deal with that. You make sure that their brave continues. They do get shields, which is awful. I think they do get shields. I just did 3 Lufanias in a row, so be careful there. But they do get a lot of brave very quickly, so you need to make sure that you shave that to give them more. But this is definitely, you need a lot of AoE damage, and you need a lot of damage fast. Again, now that we have Jack, Jack does do some good AoE damage and is a good damage dealer. We have Belthier. He is an excellent AoE damage dealer. Obviously, we have Ultimecia, and Penelo does some AoE as well. Ramza can do some splash damage. Trying to look at some other people. People brought Guy to this. People brought Lightning to this, as always. Vivi was brought to this, of course. People brought their tanks to this. Dark Knight Cecil, Furion. There's a lot of most used characters here on the Call to Arms. Belthier was the most used character on our Call to Arms. Ultimecia, Penelo, Lightning, Guy, Gladiolus, Ramza, Rude, Vivi, Kuja, Zonde, Warrior of Light, Amitatillion, Desh, Arden, Strago, before you start getting to like the Cyan, Furion, Cow, Kieran, that kind of stuff. So, yeah. So I believe I used Ultimecia, Penelo, and... I used Gladio on this one as well. So, and a little rough. There were probably better things to do than that, just because Gladio and Penelo do not always do on-demand AoE as best. But yeah, I think Belthier and Ultimecia definitely good with a solid support. So, Arrow, what did you use for this?
Team Triple Pity, so Fury and Guy and Balthier returned, and honestly, I won first try, and I didn't even use my friend unit, so and then I even did it in the recording all over again. It was great. I have no complaints. Guy absolutely with Balthier and Fury, and they just trashed the fight. It was kind of dumb. I don't know. I just found it to be one of the easiest Lufanias I've played in a while, and I know that's maybe unfair because any Lufania is quite challenging. It's just certain teams will absolutely demolish this fight, or you're going to just hate this fight because of the debuffs and then like the strict countdown timers where you can't increase. If you don't have a lot of AoE damage, this fight can probably be very, very difficult. So I'm going to hugely recommend it. And also, if you have a party member who needs a lot of buff slots to perform well, this could be a very difficult fight without a cleanser. Those are the main two things I wanted to point out.
They are highly resistant to range damage, but obviously in Arrow's team comp, she did bring Guy to enchant him, so that wasn't an issue. You can run him without an enchanter. It just is a little, he's doing less damage, but he's still then increasing the damage of characters like Ultimisha, who then don't need to worry about buffs falling out because they're constantly doing damage, constantly getting buffed from his overhead. So, yeah. That can make a big difference. Even so, he's doing less damage. Other characters are doing more damage. So people did bring him even without enchanting him to get past the range. So resist. All right.
I'm going to point out one other thing, Mark. The death machines that the boss summons are also not range resist. So
no, correct.
So Snatch Shot will do amazing damage, and then of course he has self brave gain on Great Aim. So I mean he's just going to do a lot of damage.
Yeah, that is. I was thinking about that and forgot to say that, but yeah, he does. He does 100% damage versus the ads. So that's a good enough reason to bring him because again, you need to be able to do damage. Yep. So. Yep, just battery him and he'll do just fine. Infamous Element is saying so. And Retro Gamer Dad, just, whenever, get to the fight when you can. Bring Gladio. That's what I do for all the fights. Speaking of people who, really good investments, have we said Gladio Warrior of Light still coming in strong. Tanks are good investments. So, Guy is a tank, and enchanting tank. So, maybe a better investment than we think he is. But we'll talk about that here, I think, a little bit more in the next event, which is Jack's Lost Chapter. So Jack comes back with a level 80 and a LD weapon. So and we don't have a TCC challenge for Operation Airborne yet. So stay tuned. Come on to our Discord and you can find that out. So let's talk Jack. And I think there's a lot of things to talk about when it comes to Jack. So we may take some time for that. So, Kreese, let us first talk about what Jack got.
He got only an LD, no other changes, aside from the level 80 boost. Actually, I guess he did get his character boards altogether, right? He didn't have those before. He was one of the last characters to miss character boards.
He was, I think.
So he did get some straight up power boosts to his kit. I'm not going to go through them though, but there's some nice boosts to his character kit. Just keep those in mind. A little bit more overflow, a little bit more potency hits, just general stuff. It doesn't change the way he works. It just gives him some nice oomph. So just keep that in mind. I forgot that. He was one of the last event characters to not have character boards. Jack might have been the last one, in fact, if I remember correctly. If not, he was one of the last. Anyways, LD. What is his LD? It is a 4-use ability called Piercing Gleam. Auto inflicts break. I'm not counting Aranea because she is a global first, so she doesn't really follow normal things. Hope starter. Anyways, Piercing Gleam. Auto breaks all targets. Is 2 HP dumps. That deals 50% cumulative splash to non-primary targets. Gives Jack Brave afterwards, and then inflicts a new debuff to all targets called Katana Wounds. It is a stackable debuff. It starts at 1 stack. He can, or 2 stacks if it's already applied. That has incremental increases in its potency as it increases in stacks up to 5. At max potency, it decreases enemy defenses by 50% and increases brave damage taken by 30%. It only lasts 6 turns from the time it's applied, but it's a pretty sizable bonus to damage dealt while it's there. So, pretty nice. And that's really it. Otherwise, the way Jack works is he's the same way he always works. He basically does the evasion thing. He tries to steal as many turns and put himself in front of the in front of the next enemy to attack and do that as much as he can until he runs out of abilities. That's his gimmick. It helps that he has a way to insta-break targets. He has a little utility with the debuff. He doesn't really change the way he works. When he works, he works. When he doesn't work, he doesn't work. I skipped him the first time around. I'm probably skipping him this time. Arrow, you had Jack the first time around, didn't you?
No, I did not get lucky at all with any tickets I used on that banner back at release.
Yeah, the just to interrupt you here, Infamous Element is correcting one thing. He inflicts break only on the selected
on the primary
target. Yep.
Sorry.
Yep. So it's not an AoE.
I said all targets. I meant the single target. I apologize.
Yep.
Yeah, it is a single target. You're right, Infamous. I apologize for misspeaking on that. It is a single target break.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'll talk about it though.
Yeah, you can talk about it a bit.
I did pull on the banner though. I decided to go with some tickets just to see if I could get lucky while Mino was streaming yesterday, the Lost Chapter himself. And I did get the LD and the 30-ish ticket mark. I tried some more tickets till I hit about 250 left. No luck getting EX. I'm trying to debate if I want to build him or not, but I'm on the fence right now. I do have enough EX tokens to EX token him. So it's not a concern about like, do I have the resources to build him? It's just, I don't know if I want to use EX tokens to get away with building him. And I don't really want to spend more tickets on the banner. But I think he's good. He's always good for like funky turn shenanigans. What was it? There's that early Lufania with Kuja where you could use like Kuja or Kuja friend, and then you just brave an HP plus attack the whole time, activating the EX every now and then or something. And you could just demolish the fight. There's crazy things like that you can do. So if you're in the funky turn shenanigan stuff, he can be pretty funny. And I mean, he does. But the thing is, even the most scary thing with him is that there's going to be times where you can't afford to be broken, and there's like those guaranteed hits, and then he's like sitting at low HP, and that's like the one thing Jack dreads the most is guaranteed hit HP attacks on himself. So just keep that in mind. He needs to be protected in some way.
Yeah, that was Bahamut Lufania.
Bahamut. I'm sorry. I whatever the one with Kuja was. That was crazy stuff. I remember watching that person that did that, and that was just like funny as heck to me. But because it was totally obviously not intended, and then somebody did that anyway. Are we going to talk about the call thing in a moment, or do we need to start talking about it now?
We should probably start talking about it now. What's the interaction with the call?
Okay, so people know that you can inflict the debuff with which Kreese already mentioned all the goodies that it comes with, and it's one of those things where people are really hyped to pull for the call. I'm gonna be the negative Nancy real quick and say, hey, depending on your resources, if you can't afford that luxury, don't go for that luxury. You will be fine. There is never any one thing you must have to proceed in this game. Like, this is just not how the nature of this game works. So if you are somebody who is low on resources, can't afford tickets, can't afford gems to be wasting on a banner like that, don't worry about it. There will be other calls that will let you do more brave damage. In fact, I think we already have that with Reno's call, right? Like, he inflicts the numb debuff, which already lets you do extra brave damage anyway. So there's maybe a Jack's LD call is really good, but I don't want people to think that they have to have it or they'll never be able to beat future Lufanias. It's not going to be like that, guys.
No, it's exactly like that. If you don't have Jack's LD call, you will never, ever beat any content. That is 100% correct. Let me talk about Jack a couple, because I do have Jack. I have his full kit. I didn't have it before, so I've been playing with him. I got him through a couple Lufanias here today. He's not as straightforward to play as just a straightforward damage dealer, because now we do live in the guaranteed hit time of Lufania, so he can die after he uses his EX and is down to 1 HP with his perfect evasion. Well, if you have guaranteed hit, you can die, or splash damage, or all that kind of stuff. So So yeah, you do have to be careful, and understanding how his turn jumping works, you kind of have to get used to that a little bit. But he was a really good damage dealer back then. He's a really good damage dealer now. But the hype has been that as Arrow's been talking about, you want to pull for him for his LD. And even now, 8 months, 9 months in the future, the Japanese version of the game is about 8-9 months ahead of us. People still use Jack's LD call because it gives that very, very good debuff that's very powerful, that allows you to jump into a damage phase and just do a lot of damage for 6 turns, or 6, it's on the enemy, so I think 5 or 6 turns, enemy turns. And with all the delete delay in the game in Japan, that's a lot of turns and can be throughout a good chunk of the fight, as long as the enemies don't cleanse, and just make sure you don't do it right before they cleanse. Do it right after they cleanse, and you'll be fine. I think there's a good argument. I've been listening to arguments all week about, should you pull just for an LD? Now, you don't need anything else but his LD, and for him to be, crystal strength up, and get that ability to call, to use that, because who cares about his damage? Yes, if he does more damage, great, but you're doing it for that debuff. And so the only thing you need is his LD, fully limit broke, on him, and him crystal strength up to be able to equip it, or you be able to equip it to others. So, you're not necessarily having to invest a lot of other resources, especially if you just get... So here's the thing, if you got the LD on the free pull, you don't have to go chasing his EX or any of his other gear. And even for a new player, if they pulled his LD on a free pull, it's nice. But yeah, the question is, and it has been, is it worth pulling just for an LD call? Well, I think here's the argument. Obviously, if you don't have any... I've been talking about this on both of my last pull videos. There's 2 basic schools of people in this game. And there's people in between, obviously, but there's 2 large groups of people. There's people who have no resources at all, who pull on every single banner. Oh, I've got 5,000 gems, I'm going to pull on a banner. Oh, I've got 20 tickets, I'm going to pull on a banner. That's a lot of the player base. Maybe not a lot of the player base that listens to the Crystal Chronicles, but even in our Discord and our community, that's a big chunk of the player base. And then there's the millionaires, the hoarders, the people that have planned and have a lot of resources. If you have 1,000,000 gems, pull for an LD. Yeah, why not? Who cares? You do whatever you want. If you don't have a lot of gems and you pull on every banner, you're probably already pulling. So it's the people who are trying to, work their way up from having no resources to having some resources. They really need to ask themselves some questions. Do I have 75,000 gems? No, then don't pull. Do I have 200 or 300 tickets to invest in this? No, then don't pull. Are there characters coming up that I'm interested in? Yes, don't pull. But if you have a considerable amount of resources, you're talking about an LD that you're going to LD call that you're going to use for 8 months. How many characters have you pitied that you've only used for 2 weeks? How many characters have you pitied that you've used maybe once or twice, 2 fights? You're talking about an LD that you're always going to use. It's going to be on your team every single fight forever. Tell me that's not a decent investment. Tell me that's not worth 200-300 tickets. Tell me that's not worth 75,000 gems if you have it. I mean, I actually think it might be a really good investment in terms of there's not a lot of characters that you're going to play for a long time. There's not a lot of Lightnings. There's not a lot of Gladioluses. Yeah, definitely have resources for those characters. But, if you have the resources and you don't pick up Jack, you don't need him. But why not, Yeah, I mean, why not? Pick him up. That's my 2 cents. I don't care. I don't care what you do. They're your resources. I spent 230 some tickets and got his LD and his token to ZX, and I'm going to use him a couple times, and then he's going to be my LD forever. There you go. But Kreese, any thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of agree with everything you said. Just go with what your resources and your general interest goes for. Don't pull just because of LD board or just for LD call abilities. That seems like a silly use of resources unless you have a lot of resources to use. And Mino, saying hoarding's a disease while you hoard all the time is kind of like the pot calling the kettle black. So just think about that. Anyways, I generally agree with everything you said. It's relatively true. Again, no, if you want to pull just for that LD call, like you have a lot of plans for using it in the future, go ahead. There's nothing wrong with that either. Just think about what you're doing, think about what your plans are, and if you think you have a better use for it, do that instead. I think that's all I have to say.
What unit do you put him on? The damage dealer? Whoever the hell you want. Doesn't matter who you put him on. You can put it on the damage dealer, although it doesn't have any extra effects. Where is he here? So I would prefer to put, it doesn't give you anything, I don't think. Yeah, so I would prefer a call on the damage dealer that increases their attack, max brave damage dealt. And then your supports, you can have supporting aura type LD. So, I mean, you really want to put him on your kind of third slot or, obviously you can put him on your attacker, but I would prefer to use some extra damage kind of LDs on your attackers, and then have him on the support. So his LD call is that good. He's still like literally people use him every single event, because there's not that many great LDs, LD calls. There are some that are fun. There are some that are useful, but it's doing a lot of damage. You can get him up to 5 stacks really quick, and that is a lot of additional, damage going on. What are the stacks when he's up to full stacks here? Defense
50.
Minus 50 and brave damage taken plus 30. So that's a really good on one button. I have that for 6 turns. Him and Kurosame do stack, I believe, don't they? Yeah. When you get his Kurosame's, we'll get a LD boards at some time. Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to point out something. If you can't afford this luxury now, this LD does come back.
Yes.
I believe BC mentioned it was Leon's LD. So that is it's a couple many months down the road. But I understand
on a Titus BT. It's Titus BT, Leon LD, Jack LD.
So yeah, that's pretty hype, guys. Yeah. So if you are not able to afford it now, you might want to be able to plan for it and get yourself maybe Titus BT or Titus BT, however you want to say it. You can get yourself a Leon LD and the Jack LD. Hey, that's a pretty good banner to me. I don't know about you guys, but I understand. I always understand luxuries are what they are. They're luxuries.
Exactly.
And characters always. And honestly, if I think there was other characters that were mentioned that can do similar-ish effects, even though they're not quite as potent as Jack's, but they will come. So there will be more opportunities to get extra characters who kind of have these brave damage ups brave damage taken by the enemy will be increased kind of things, and defense downs and all that other good stuff.
Yeah.
We'll have the chance. So,
you don't
right.
need it. Like we say,
right.
you don't need BTs either. But hell, they make your life a lot easier. And this, if this shaves 2 or 3 turns off of a fight, it's going to make life easier. And so, yeah, if you have the resources, if you have a good plan, and if you don't, if you don't really have a good plan, how do I plan? How do I start saving? Jin Lee has a great video on it. Tonberry Troupe has some good resources. Just come to our Discord and hang out with people who have over 1 million gems and figure out how they did it. It's not that hard. You make a plan and you stick to it. And yeah, you can figure out how to make that moving forward. But again, I think the majority of folks who are hoarding resources, there's no reason for them not to pull for Jack, unless they're people who just hate, like Belial, who just hates using ingots and fully maxed characters and likes to give himself some extra challenges. For those of you who don't like to play the game as much as some of our friends and content creators, feel free. So yeah, win more button. Yeah, it just makes life easier. Makes cheese cheesier. If you like lightning, you should probably get Jack. for his LD. You're going to be carrying lightning through anyway. All right. Well, we have a time for a couple of questions, and I don't want to dig too much into our questions. We will end like in maybe 15 minutes or so. And I do want to talk a little bit. Well, let's talk the calendar, and then if we have time for questions, we'll take another questions. I'm assuming next week we don't have a lot of content, so that might be more of a Q&A, kind of retrospective. Maybe Chris will have some insights to add from their time there. So catching up on some things. So we can have a little bit of fun with that, do some co-ops or something.
It'll be nice to have a breather week because
but we might.
I actually have a light week next week because of Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
So I might have some time to catch up on things.
We're about to forget to talk about this Lufania. Did we want to talk about
No. This Lufania is stupid and we shouldn't talk. Yeah, okay, fine. We got to talk about the Lufania. Sorry, thank you, Arrow, for keeping us on track. We were just talking about first. I'm just skipping ahead. First, let's go to the podcast polls. Remember, Quetsteria Bot. That's a new thing I created. Materia Bot from Quetzalma. You can support Materia Bot on Patreon. Feel free to do that. It is on 9 servers. 0 willing to pity Ultimisha's Burst. 27 willing to pity Jack's LD. 12 using gems. 131 tickets. And 48 skippers. So there you go. That was it for that. Jack's Lufania. 2 Flutter Jellies. We fought the Flutter Jellies before in Jack's event. They get a Lufania orb at 79%. It starts with a 15 count, disappears at 49, and reappears at 39% of their HP for an 8 count. Melee damage freezes the orb. So it's a real simple orb to deal with. Just like normal, minus 1 count per action, minus 2 count per enemy action. They absorb thunder. Sorry, lightning. They're immune to paralysis and speed down. They get into what's the phase? They get all worked out. What's it called?
Concentration.
Yes, they go into concentration. That makes their attacks more powerful. The only way to get that out is to give them turns, I think. Allow them to act, or maybe break through some thresholds.
You've got to do so many turns, and it even counts enemy turns. So you can use that to your advantage. AAs work. Any kind of turns work. You just need to take 3 actions before the enemy takes their turn to avoid the Spinning Blades plus.
Yep. And you will want to avoid that. And the bosses gain shields at certain HP thresholds that cannot be broken with Insta-Break. Sorry, Ramza, and even Jack's LD. So you need to do brave damage. And you have to make sure that you do that brave damage before you freeze the orb. There you go. So you take the shields down before you can actually impact the orb. Other than that, there's not a lot of other tricks that I noticed to this. I brought Jack, and of course Jack gets down to 1 HP, and they will kill him if you're not careful. So they must have some guaranteed hit, maybe with the Spinning Blades Plus or something.
Spinning Blades both versions is guaranteed.
Yeah. So be sure that you don't let Jack die. And he's healed up before he takes an attack, because that evasion will not help him whatsoever, and he will die. So even if he only takes 1 damage, he's dead. But after that was fine. I brought Jack Ramza. Sorry, Ultimisha, I left her on the bench because Ramza is synergy, and he has a burst, and Ultimisha doesn't. Although Ultimisha would be great in this, just for the turn deletion. But she doesn't do melee, and Ramza does. And a tank, Warrior of Light, something like that. So, Arrow, how did you approach this?
I used Dessel, Warrior of Light, and Kieran. I can't believe that worked, because there's this 50 brave gain reduction the whole fight from the start to the end. But it worked, and it was sick. I have no idea why it works so good. But anyway, I also had a Ramza friend. Ramza friend is super dope here. Not going to lie. I wanted to point out that counter characters can be pretty good this fight, especially if they're counter melee characters. That includes Machina, Gladio, and 8. They'll easily keep pausing the counter throughout the whole battle. There's a lot of AoE because of all those spinning blades attacks. So you're gonna get some counterattacks with Machina or A, even if you bring like another tank or something. It's cool. So kind of an easy orb to deal with. You can even, I think, has anyone actually done the cheese runs yet where you don't even give these bosses like any turns? I don't know if anyone's done that yet, but I'm sure they will if they haven't. Thankfully, this is a pretty open-ended Lufania. Calls will also help you guys out. We have a couple of melee calls at this point that you can help to pause the orb, depending on your character choices, of course, as well. So it's pretty tolerable. I don't know what's going on here, but the only thing to watch out for is it is only 70 turns. So yes. Yeah, again, we have 70 turns only. So just make sure that you bring enough damage. So it is kind of a damage check fight, and that makes sense considering the synergy characters and everything.
Yeah, I see a couple 30-somethings. Harriet's here, I think, with Ultimisha, Belthier, Gladiolus. So, there's a couple ones, but some cheese runs with Ultimisha, Immediatilian, Belthier, Theologica is Sane, Infamous Elements saying I did it in the CQ. I did it in the CQ as well with Ultimisha, Jack, and Ramsa. That was not good for them. So let's talk then. Thank you, Arrow, for reminding us we had some things to talk about. Good luck. If you're struggling with any of these, hey, come on our Discord. We have some time, tccpodcast.com. Hopefully, when I remember to re-up for our domain, if I don't in a couple of weeks, you won't be able to go to tccpodcast.com, but hopefully I'll do that. So, according to our calendar, our next event is February 19th, and that would be Dimensions End Entropy Tier 20, which is, of course, just one fight, Dimensions End Entropy Tier 20. That does come with a banner, which will have Cryos LD on Ultimisha's Burst. So from now to then, there's no announced event. So that would be 8 days, which is really the longest period of time we would have without an event, without any events. So from this week to next week's show, there will be no new events. Potentially, Squex may throw something at us, an anniversary theme thing, or just a small shop or a quest, that, kind of is small, or a co-op or something like that. But to this point, there is nothing. So, Arrow, any thoughts about that?
I'm cool with it. Honestly, the start of this month was wild, and I'm still trying to catch up on co-ops. And you guys know I have something planned for my channel that is different. I have shared it with our TCC supporters chat. So I'm hoping to get that busted up and started this weekend, and have it started to be posted next week during this slow content period.
Yeah, we have currently how many? We have Diabolos, Operation Airborne, Strawl in the Woods, Gentle Giant. We have 1, 2. There's 2 days left in From the Dark It Comes. That's Diabolos. We have 3 days left for Strawl in the Woods. 6 days left for Gentle Giant, and 10 days left for Operation Airborne. So that's four co-ops. Blardingen is saying there was a preview for Tier 20 tonight. Seems early. They usually do it about a week beforehand for Tier. I don't know why they announce.
It'll base DE Tier 20. I think will drop as we are recording next week.
But I don't know why they announce the Dimensions End Entropy tier so early, but that's their common practice. They do generally do that. And we will get extra rewards, so extra gems, and we're going to get, Drez is saying Tier 15 will be 7,000, Tier 20 will be 25,000, and then we have been told we're going to get a Tier 18 reward as well. And if you haven't done any of them, I think then you can get the original rewards as well. So do as much entropy as you can in the 8 days you have off to try to catch up. So take some time and get all those extra rewards. That will be nice. Don't be I wouldn't be pitying anything for that, but take. I've watched some people do entropy on Twitch who are newer to the game and starting the game. trying to go back and do tiers with LD characters is a joke. Remember, when Dimensions and Entropy started, we didn't have fully realized characters, let alone 3 fully realized characters. So bringing an LD or 2 LD characters to these fights, it makes it go a lot easier. So if you have a handful of LDs at this point and a whole bunch of fully realized DX characters, do some work and get to it. Of course, you can go to OO Tracker and fill in your sheet. Tell us what you have. Come on Discord. And there are people in our event strategy section that will be more than happy to help you get through as much as you can when it comes to entropy. So I think we'll save questions unless there's any burning questions.
I don't really think so.
I think
kind of touched on the one question we were going to do. I guess we can quickly answer. What are we going to do with the 8 days of break? I'm going to play catch up on content.
Great. That sounds good. Arrow's got some other plans on her YouTube channel. Make sure you check out her YouTube. It's Leillee, Leilee. So, yeah, check that out and be watching that. Of course, be watching our If Again. This is a busy time of year for me for many different reasons. I got a whole bunch of things going on here in the next few days even. So, if I have some time, look for that video where I talk about the giveaway. And I do have a couple anniversary videos that I would like to put together that I had kind of started, but need some time to kind of actually work on them. So I hope maybe in these 8 days off, we'll have a couple extra videos on our channel. Well, we will stick around for the post show. And next week, we will do a little bit more Q&A, assuming we don't get a lot of content and no new characters. So come onto our Discord. Let us know what you want to talk about. You want to talk about things from Japan? Fine. You want to talk about things personal life? Fine. We may not answer them, but feel free to ask whatever you want, and we'll choose what we answer next week. Is a hot dog, a sandwich, or a taco? Very interesting. Save that for answers to that question and more. Come back next week to the Crystal Chronicles every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Well, this has been Mark. Arrow Crease, episode 139, recorded on February 11th, 2021. Shout out to my daughter. It's her birthday today. TCCpodcast.com. Check out the links on the podcast app you're watching, or on YouTube, or on our Twitch page, to all of our friends, including the Tonberry Troupe, TonberryTroupe.com, DissidiaInfo, Macnol, MateriaBot, Quetzalma, and so many more. All of our great team that make this possible. And just join our Discord and come hang out with us during this 8 days off. And, if Macnol has some time, we'll probably have some TCC challenges to keep us busy. If not, co-op, catch up, and step away, log in, because we're getting a whole bunch of cool rewards every day. But log in, do some co-ops, grind some arts, and go about your day. Happy Lunar New Year as well. Thank you, Trez. I appreciate that. So, So until next week, I'd wish you good luck on your polls, but you've probably done all your polls. If not, good luck, and we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.